Thanks for coming back to this conversation. We're talking about alternative wellness measures. And with life coach Doc Mel, she sought out alternative wellness options after a successful fight against breast cancer, realizing she wanted to change some things about how she was caring for herself. And joining the conversation now is a man who says float therapy changed his life after an injury. So much so, he invested in a practice and is now the owner of a spot called Floasis. Welcome to the show, David Munn.
Thank you.
I like what you did there, Floasis, right? Because I'm getting float and an oasis.
It's a portmanteau of the two words.
I
Yes,
love
indeed.
it. I love it. Let's talk about your experience first. What happened to you? How did you find yourself in a situation where you were like, I need to try something new, something different? Well, I guess it's not new. It was to the culture, but new for you, right? This is something that's been a while for a while.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Broke my back about a decade ago now, and I had
How'd you break your back?
It's a ridiculous story. It's not. I was gardening of all things.
Oh wow!
And it was just one of those things where I separated part of my spine, just poor posture, and had a couple of failed surgeries, which led me down the path of trying to find some other way to recover. And I started doing float therapy at a spot in Atlanta and was getting great benefit physically, feeling a lot better.
Who put float therapy on your radar? Like, who was the first person who said, hey, you should go try this thing where they float in Epsom salt? And Century, had you heard of it?
It's been around since 1954, which people think it's new, but it's actually had a big research. I mean, it had a big presence in the 1980s, and then it kind of dipped, and it's come back. So,
but you had never done this before.
I'd never done it, and thought I would give it a shot because you hear about how it's great for the body, and I did. I felt a lot better when I got out of the tank, and then I was seeing the mental benefits as well. And
what was that like for you? Our viewers, you should know, are looking at one of the, is pod the right term?
Tank, pod.
Okay.
Sure.
So what were the benefits? What did you experience personally?
Physically, you're going to feel lighter, a bit more effervescent for a few days. Sleep is better. But if you have a cumulative mental, so you are less stressed, less anxious, racing thoughts disappear. So it puts you into a very deep state of meditation.
Doc, I see you nodding. You on the racing thoughts. You were like, Tell us more.
That experience is spot on. The racing thoughts disappear, and it almost feels like you're opening up a portal. You feel the cellular rejuvenation, but the float it's beyond a float that you can think of when you are really in tune with what you're doing in an intentional way. You just really feel, like he said, effervescent.
And that was you. Our viewers saw floating there just a moment ago. So what are you floating in, and how does it feel different from like floating just in a pool? Like, I really find that floating in a pool is really, really relaxing, and just kind of just splayed out there in the water. How does that feel different from what's happening in this experience?
It's an Epsom salt solution, so people refer to it as water, but technically it's a solution, not water. It sits at about 40% salt. So if you take, for example, a glass of wine is about 10% solid. You can imagine, you wouldn't get pulled over and say, I only had 6 waters.
Right.
So it floats your body effortlessly. The solution is your skin's temperature. And then the room that you're in is also designed to take away all stimulus. It's light-proof, it's soundproof. So what happens is it puts your brain into a state of interoception, which is your brain's ability to introspect. And there, it's just incredibly peaceful. For me, it's like being alone in the universe, but not in a lonely way.
Right.
In a healing way.
All you hear is what's racing, or maybe no longer racing in your head.
Your thoughts tend to dissipate after a short time. First few minutes, I don't know what your experience was, but you might be in your head, you might have some intentionality, but shortly after, those things just kind of disappear into an ether, which is...
And you feel like you're in a cocoon. It's the pod experience that you don't get in a pool, per se.
Gotcha.
It's being enclosed with the sound,
Yeah.
with the sound. For me, there was sound.
Yeah.
Yeah, David,
involved
before we
in
run
it.
out of time, tell people where they can find you, where they can learn more about this.
We're in Buckhead, corner of Piedmont and Roswell Road. And as she said, the business is called Floasis. We can all go to floasisatlanta.com and check it out for ourselves.
All right. David, thank you so much for this perspective. I really appreciate it. This conversation is going to continue because after the break, you're going to meet Malika. She has the ears of the bowl, if that makes sense. She's going to perform a sound bath. You may not be able to hear it now, but you will, and you're going to learn more about what that does for our well-being when we return. Stay with us. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I really want to thank you for season 3 of Portia. It's because of loyal viewers like you that we keep getting to share this daily dose of positivity all across the country. So just a reminder, I still need you to like, comment, and subscribe, and go ahead and tell your friends. You can catch us now in Orlando, in San Francisco, in Atlanta, and all across the country on Fox Soul. Tell your friends. We'll see you soon on Portia.